Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise on some really critical near-future events. Today we've got a strategic warning report that definitely caught our eye. It details some severe continental-scale weather risks. We're talking Europe, Western Russia, the North Caucasus, and the specific time frame is August 8th through 17th, 2025. So our mission really is to unpack the biggest hazards for you, get into some surprising dynamics, and understand why it all matters.
Exactly. And what's really important to grasp here is this goes way beyond just a standard weather forecast. Think of it as a high-impact advisory. A severe, widespread heat wave, yes, but also a long one. And the crucial bit, it's significantly amplified by long-term climate change. That's the real story here, a systemic shift.
Okay, so with that context, let's dive into the main threat you mentioned, this intense heat dome over continental Europe. What's it actually look like on the ground, temperature-wise?
It looks dangerous. We're forecasting anomalies maybe 6 to 14 degrees Celsius above normal. That's huge. You could see cities like Paris hitting, say, 40 degrees Celsius. But honestly, even more critical than the daytime highs, it's the duration and these tropical nights.
Right, tropical nights. That's when it doesn't cool down enough overnight.
Exactly. Minimum temperatures just don't fall below 20 Celsius, so your body gets no chance to recover. This lack of recovery, it's lethal. It played a massive role in those, 60,000 to 70,000 excess deaths in Europe back in 2022.
60 to 70,000. That's staggering. And it makes you think it's easy to dismiss it as just another hot summer, but the report really stresses this link to climate change. How is climate change making these specific events worse, beyond just general warming?
Well, it's not just turning up the dial a bit, it's more fundamental. Europe is, believe it or not, the fastest warming continent. Land temperatures are already up about 2.1 to 2.2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial times.
Double the global average, isn't it?
Pretty much double, yeah. So what that means is atmospheric patterns that used to be, let's say, moderately strong, now they can trigger record-shattering heat. And it's not just heat. There are changes in big patterns, like the Summer North Atlantic Oscillation, the NAO. That's basically making the atmosphere more likely to get stuck in these persistent heat dome setups. The whole system's behavior is changing.
Okay, so less extreme patterns can now cause these major heat events because the baseline is already so high. That makes sense. But the report doesn't stop at heat. It also flags severe convective storms. How do they fit in? Seems counterintuitive.
It does, but they're dynamically linked.
Yeah.
It's a paradox of the same system. On the edges of this heat dome, think the Alps, maybe parts of Central Europe, the conditions become perfect for severe storms.
Right, really violent ones.
Exactly. Powerful thunderstorms. We're talking large, damaging hail, destructive winds, flash floods. The same atmospheric setup driving the heat also creates the instability for these storms, and the hail threat itself is evolving, which is quite interesting.
How so?
Well, a warmer atmosphere holds more moisture and can support stronger updrafts in these storms. Stronger updrafts mean hailstones can grow larger. And while small hail might melt falling through warmer air,
The really big ones survive the fall.
precisely. So the risk profile shifts, maybe fewer small hail events overall, but an increase in these really significant, damaging, large hail events.
Okay, so a qualitative shift to bigger, more destructive hail. That's a key takeaway for you. Bringing this all together, what does the report say about specific regional impacts? Where are the hotspots?
It highlights a few key zones. Western and Central Europe, France, Germany, they're ground zero for the heat. Expect public health crises, major strain on energy grids, and even transport issues, like the Rhine getting too low for shipping. That's critical infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. What about further east?
Western Russia, especially the European plain, is looking at significant heat too. The big worry there is severe agricultural stress, crop failures. And considering Russia provides something like 20% of global wheat exports, well, you can see the potential knock-on effects for food security.
A global impact from a regional heat wave
Okay.
and the North Caucasus.
That's a really interesting kind of dual hydrological threat, accelerated glacial melt. So one, you get the immediate risk, flash floods, mud flows, that awful Chovy event in Georgia in 2023. But two, the long-term problem. As the glaciers shrink and disappear, it hits water security for the whole region.
So immediate flood risk and long-term water scarcity from the same cause. Stepping back then, what are the bigger picture strategic implications when an event like this hits such a vast area?
You're looking at potentially simultaneous crises across multiple countries, public health emergencies, yes, major hits to agriculture affecting global markets, energy grids pushed to the brink, and just significant economic losses from damage from businesses being interrupted. It's a cascade.
It really paints a picture of interconnectedness, doesn't it? Looking back at this deep dive for August 2025, what really stands out to you feels like the interconnectedness and the climate amplification are the core themes.
I think that's exactly right. If you connect the dots, this report underscores something profound. Understanding these complex dynamics isn't just about one forecast for 1 week. It's about recognizing we're in a new reality, a new normal, where these extreme compound hazards are just going to be more frequent.
Right. Not just hotter, but more complex interactions.
Exactly. Our whole approach to resilience needs to evolve with that reality.
So the final thought for you, listening in, how does this shift your thinking? Knowing these extremes are becoming more interconnected, more amplified, does it change how you think about, say, emergency planning? Or even bigger things like urban design, infrastructure choices, maybe even daily habits? What steps could you start considering to build resilience in this changing climate landscape? Something to mull over.